that our resistance persists and we save American democracy. And it's moments like this with what the Texas Democrats are doing, led by Representative Jean Wu, where they take this brave stand where we will save our democracy because we tell this administration what they're doing is not okay. So I just want to let Representative Wu, that Hawaii, the Hawaii Democratic Party, and our fierce leaders like Senator Hirono and Representative Tokuda, we stand with you. We're standing shoulder to shoulder with you. You're our inspiration in this moment, and we got your back, and we're going to do whatever it takes to resist this administration and fight for American democracy. We know you guys are battling threats, unconstitutional threats from attorney generals, the FBI, but we got your back every step of the way. And let us know what we can do today, and we're going to do it. We're going to step up and take whatever stand we can to ensure that this movement persists and we save American democracy moving forward. So thank you all for doing this.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Derek. And I know there's quite a few, there's over 100 people on this call right now, but I did want to give a particular shout out. I believe my colleague, Congressman Bobby Scott from Virginia, he should be the chair of the Education and Labor Committee. We will get that gavel back into his hands when we flip the majority, but he has joined us on this call. I believe we also have California Assemblyman Mike Fong. Thank you. And as you know, we have got efforts afoot in California as well. So perhaps if there's opportunities, he can even pipe in on how this all plays into the strategy to make sure we can take back the House. I believe former Deputy Assistant to President Biden, Erica Moritsugu, is also joining us, and our Hawaii Representative Della Baladi. I think I saw her joining on as well. So all of you are warriors in the fight for democracy. But just a shout out to some of our colleagues who especially have been out there making sure that we fight back against these challenges. And so right now, I want to just give you some brief introduction to Representative Wu. I think many of you have heard him, have seen him on the news, just kicking butt out there, holding the line. But for a little background, for those of you that may not be familiar, Representative Eugene Wu actually immigrated to the United States as a child from Guangzhou, China, settled in the Sharpstown neighborhood of Southwest Houston. I know Houston is his hometown that he's very proud of. Got his Bachelor's of Science from Texas A&M, a Master's of Public Affairs from the University of Texas at Austin, and his JD at South Texas College of Law in Houston. Quite a resume there. He has been the state representative, District 137, serving as a Democratic member of this district since first winning election in 2012. He's the minority leader of the Texas House since the beginning of this year, and talk about a crazy year to assume leadership. But we are so proud of the work that he has done, his committees that he has served on, appropriations, criminal jurisprudence, where he serves as vice chair, juvenile justice and family issues, and redistricting, obviously critically important on that last night. But he has been a champion for juvenile justice reform, efforts to dismantle the school to prison pipeline, child protective service reform, and broader criminal justice and child welfare initiatives. Gene Wu, clearly a fighter for the most vulnerable and a defender of our people. And now, literally, as I said, on the front lines of protecting the country when it comes to the threats to our democracy. I have to say, though, he is also part of the two-boy club. Gene, I've got two teenage boys, too. And so he is the proud father of Winston and Lyndon, married to Mia Shea. And so love that about him. But I think we really want to hear from him what's going on. And Gene, perhaps if you can even give us a little bit of background. Every day something's changing. Things are new. So if you could just quickly lead us through what has probably been a whirlwind, how this started, why it's so important, all the way to, I know, literally in the last few hours, some breaking news and developments. But thank you again, Gene. And folks, send those emojis up. Let's show Gene and all of the Texas Dems some love and aloha. Kicking it over to you, Gene.
Thank you, Rep. Tokuda. And Senator Hirono, Chair Turbin, thank you so much. And Senator Hirono, I have to say that, you are one of my personal heroes. You're partly one of the reasons I ran for office, and you don't. I never told you this, but like in my office, I don't have a lot of pictures, but one of them is the first time that we met when I first got elected, and I went to your office in DC, and that's the picture has been in my office for over a decade now. So thank you so much, and thank you for everybody. Look, it's been kind of nuts. And before I get to like how this started, let me say basically where we are at this very moment, because I think that's kind of exciting news, and I want to make sure everyone hears that. Here's the good news first, right? So, President Obama joined us for a Zoom chat today. Just give us words of encouragement and to thank us for all the work that we've done, and and for our soon-to-be victories. And here's what the victories are going to be. When we first set out to do this, we had two goals in mind. One was to end this corrupt special session and to force them to restart and to give the voters more time to know what's going on and to speak up. Okay. And I think we're very close to doing that. Tomorrow, they're going to try to gavel in, and if they can't gavel in, they're going to end this special session. And that's going to be victory number one. Okay. Um, Victory number two is we had set out to try to change America to get people up and ready to defend against this. People laughed at us. People told us that's insane. People told us, you know, if a few people, a handful of people can't change the country, right? And I think we did it because right now, today, California is announcing that they're going to drop the maps tomorrow of their plan, and then start their special session on this coming Monday, and then have the bill voted out on the governor's desk by this Friday. Okay, and what's great is that bill is not like what the Republicans are doing. So Republicans are straight up just gerrymandering, using racial discrimination to get what they want. In the middle of the cycle, in the middle of the game, right? In an attempt to stave off what is going to be a crushing defeat for them next year. Okay. Instead, what California is doing is saying they're going to put in a trigger bill that California says we recognize that this stuff that they're trying to do is distasteful, it's unethical, it's unconstitutional, it should be illegal, but we have to fight fire with fire, right? Because that's the only thing the Republicans understand. And so what their bill does, what their bill is going to do, is saying we're going to put these maps out there. And these maps will just stay here in legislative land until or unless Texas redraws their map, right? Texas has to trigger it. So if Texas doesn't do bad stuff, then nothing happens. If Texas does bad stuff, then California will come in and negate it, right? That's it. It makes Texas's actions pointless. And so we're encouraging them to say, hey, why are you doing this pointless thing? How about just don't do it, right? It gives the Republicans a way out, but it also gives us protection. But it also lets us keep our head high about like, hey, we think this is wrong, but it'll only happen if you do it first. And I'm sorry our country has come to essentially what is a Cold War standoff, but that's the place we need to be. And this is a time for Democrats to be strong, and the Democrats to not say, well, we're better than that. It's like, no, we'll do it if we have to. We will fight fire with fire if we have to. And right now, we're fighting for our country, so we kind of have to. Okay? So, um, and the thing is, other states are looking at this too. And Trump has gone to Ohio. Trump has gone to Missouri and all these other places saying, hey, you should do this too. But because of the work that we've done, because how much attention we've brought to this, about, considering how much damage we've done to Governor Abbott and his PR and his poll ratings, other states may say, you know what? Yeah, we're good. We don't want that kind of beating. Okay, because like our entire state is now like riled up. So those are not all these are in place yet, but they will be soon. And I think this is Democrats haven't had a victory of even a small one in a long time. So, I'm very grateful for this. In a sense, I feel like, David has taken on Goliath. And we maybe not killed Goliath, but Goliath is knocked down. Goliath's going to be knocked down, and we're going to be ready for round 2 and 3. Okay. And I want to make this very clear. What we're doing is the first chapter of a very long book. All right. This is not the end. This is the end of just the very, very beginning. What we hope is that what we do and what we have started, that this fire that we've ignited spreads throughout the country. All right. So let me just go a little bit backwards. So first of all, let's start off with this. Back in 2021, we broke quorum. And we broke quorum because of how much, one of the reasons was how much they were going to racially gerrymander the maps after the 2020 census. Okay. And because in Texas, 96% of the population increase, 96% was due to African American, Latino, and Asian population growth, right? 99% or 96%, I'm sorry. But when 2021 rolled around, when they redistricted, somehow the two new districts were both overwhelmingly majority white. And we're like, hey, how did that happen? Right? Not even half this new seats, right? So that's where we started. And we broke quorum in 2021. And back then, people really didn't pay attention, didn't care. And so those maps went into place. Those maps, we sued on those maps for racial discrimination. And by the way, if you didn't know this, Texas, since the passage of the VRA in 1975, since the passage of the VRA, Voting Rights Act, Texas has been in violation of the Voting Rights Act for racial discrimination every single time. Found by a court every single time. And so the maps that we are already using right now are some of the worst racially gerrymandered and illegal maps in the United States. Few other states have gerrymandering this bad. Okay. That's our starting point. And so when Trump calls Governor Abbott and says, well, I need 5 more seats on a already extremely racially gerrymandered map. And how is he going to get 5 more seats? Well, the only way that he can get 5 more seats is ultra mega turbocharged racial gerrymandering and racial discrimination. And so the maps, that what they have done is drop maps that essentially take strong Black communities that are separate and distinct and smash them together in one super concentrated Black district, taking their Black representation from 2 to 1, right, in our area. And at the same time, they're taking Latino districts that have risen up over time and have gained power over time and split them into chunks, and taken an entire community that used to come together to vote for one person and then created new Latino districts, but Latino districts that are heavily weighted with white minority CVAP, meaning that the white voters in the primaries will control, okay, especially in a Republican district. And so, they said we created new Latino districts. Well, we already had those Latino districts. You took them away and then created new ones. Okay, that's not really creating something new. And then at the cost of that is you had to take away Black districts to create those Latino districts. So, long story short, when we first heard about this in the legislature during the regular session, which is the spring, we thought, no, that's insane. There's no way they can possibly draw those maps without just crazy racial discrimination. And we thought maybe they would try to draw one district. They could probably get away with one district and survive the courts, but not 5, right? And by the way, you've heard Governor Abbott like talk back and saying, "Oh, well, if California is going to jump in, then we're going to draw 9 seats." Like, okay, like we'd like to see you do it. And so don't forget, by the way, every seat that they draw like this, they have to draw their other Republican seats thinner and thinner and thinner. And the Republican colleagues in the U.S. House are like, "Hey, this doesn't seem like a good idea." So roll around. We finished the regular session. They didn't do anything, so we thought, okay, maybe they were just kidding. Maybe they thought better of it. Until we started hearing rumors that they're going to do it in a special. Why would they do it in a special? Because they have special rules during the special. In the regular session, they have to have hearings. In the regular session, they have to give people notice. In a special session, they can hide everything. And that's what they were trying to do. They were trying to hide this from the public. They were trying to hide their cheating from the public. And so when they finally called the special session, they said that we were going to go in, and the reason for the special session was to help the disaster, dealing with a disaster in the Central Texas where 130 Texans died. And these are all preventable deaths. Um, and and they were going to deal with it. They were going to help those communities recover and do all this stuff. About $20 million total, right? And we're like, $20 million? Why doesn't Governor Abbott just write a check? Governor Abbott has a discretionary fund for this exact thing. So like for people who need stuff and the legislature's out. He's got a massive discretionary fund that he could just like give them the money right now, right? And we can refund his discretionary fund at a later time. And I was like, oh, because he's using this as a hostage politically, right? And then after he announces that he's going to do disaster recovery for Kerrville and for Central Texas, he drops this. He drops the redistricting, right? And those of us that have been in politics knows what's about to come. And for the first week of the legislature, we did not have a single hearing on the flooding issues, on the flooding bills, or how much money it would take, or what they actually need. But we had 9 hearings on redistricting. And during the hearings, they would not release the maps, right? They said they didn't know what the maps were. They didn't know why they were there. They didn't have any idea why they were there. So everyone who testified had to testify in neutral because there was no map, there was no bill. So they had to testify neutral, right? Even though they opposed this entire process. And every single person is like, "Where's the damn map? Tell us what you're going to do." And the public's like, "Oh, we don't know. We don't know what's going on." Yeah, okay. We asked them to ask about, hey, could you ask the governor? The governor called the special session. Could you ask him, what up, yo? And they said, we don't know how to do that. Really? You don't know how to reach out to the governor's office and ask him, what do you guys want? What do you guys want us to do? You couldn't do that? You couldn't pick up a phone? You couldn't email? And then we said, like, hey, could you find out what the DOJ letter was about and what's their rationale for? What's their evidence for that? And they like, well, we tossed an email to them one time and it says out on vacation, and we just didn't ask them ever again. We didn't call. We didn't try to find out through any other means. It just, well, they said they were on vacation for one email and that was it. Yeah. Okay. We get it. Right. And so they dropped maps on the public, on the committee, with less than 48 hours before it was voted on. And within less than 24 hours of when the public had to come testify against it. And so all these public sessions, all these public hearings, it was limited to 500 people, or it was limited to 5 hours. And the first session in Austin had easily 500 plus people. And only about 100 were actually able to testify. If not, I don't think even 100. And in the second one, like 700 people came and registered. So many people came that they ran out of paper to do registration. But because it was limited to 5 hours. And all those, but those 700 people, by the way, if everyone got their 2 minutes, we would be there for more than 24 hours. But they only allowed for 5 hours, right? The final hearing before we voted on it, they had it for a full 10 hours. And we had over 1,000 people come out and register. And only a few hundred people testified. And there was no real discussion on the maps. They said, we're putting it up for vote. No one offered any amendments. No, it's almost like it was all they. It's almost like they knew what was coming all along and just said that they didn't. So at that point, we basically said, okay, we know how this is going to go. This is corrupt as hell, and at the very least, you should be telling the public what's happening. And so we said, we don't have a choice. They're not negotiating with us. They're not talking to us. They're just doing whatever Donald Trump tells them to do. And so we said, well, we only have one thing left that we can do, and that is leave the state. And so we voted the bill out of committee on Saturday, and Saturday morning at like 2 a.m. And we decided that it was time, right? We talked through it with our members. We had an agreement among over 50 members to say, yep, this is bullshit, right? And we said the only way we can save Texas, the only way we can save the American people is to get the hell out of here and stop them in their tracks. And so that's what we did. And unfortunately, we had to spend a lot of money. We couldn't fly commercial because we're dealing with 50 plus people, so we had to charter our own charter craft. Lots of money. They call the FBI on us. They put vigilantes on us. They called bomb threats on us, right? They sent people out to our homes. They harassed members wherever they went. I was on the receiving end of endless racist attacks. Other members were too. Um, people people said that, those of us who are immigrants should be denaturalized once we're arrested, right? And so those kind of stuff, this pushed us on. Um, so that being said, we got through all. They're going to fine us. They're going to fine us $500 a day. That's more than a lot of us make in a week because we're not Republicans. We're not rich. The Democrats here, we have single moms, single dads here with their kids here. We have people who are living paycheck to paycheck. We have seniors who are retired, and their teachers' retirement salaries don't really cut it. And so we're doing the best we can, and we're coming off of a bruising session, but we are grateful. We are so ecstatic that we've been able to accomplish what we set out to accomplish, and that we're ready to pass the torch on to California. And we hope California passes the torch to Illinois, and we hope Illinois passes it to New Hampshire, and so on and so forth. Right? And that's where, and it's not just state to state, legislature to legislature. We're hoping that this fire catches on for all Americans, that our hearts are set ablaze with love for our country. And to finally for people to say, we're done leaving this in the hands of others. We are ready to take our country back. We're ready to make America work for average people once again. That this country should not just be for people with the right last names, with the right skin color, and born to the right families. We are a country of people who are often immigrants, people who struggle every day, people who do their best to take care of their families and make ends meet. And I think our country for too long now no longer cared about people like that. And my realization is, unfortunately, that for the past 50 years, Donald Trump the people who support him, Republicans, have been slowly stripping away all the things that made America great. And piece by piece, they've sold it off to the lowest bidder. And now Americans are finally waking up to this reality. And I think even MAGA, even those other people are waking up and realizing that their problems are not caused by books that need to be banned. They're not caused by drag queens or trans kids or women or minorities or immigrants, but they're caused by policies that have stripped our health, our good jobs, stripped away our education, stripped away healthcare. And the last thing they are going to take from us, the last thing they need to take from us is our voice, is our power, is our ability to change our own future. And they're coming for it. And this is their final act. And if you've heard me talk before, you've heard me say, this is the end level. This is the final boss. If we do not defeat this, if we are not able to push this back, if every state is now forced to redistrict after every election cycle, to change the rules whenever they feel like it, whether red or blue, to suit their needs, then politicians and leaders will no longer listen to the people. They don't need to. They won't need to listen to the people anymore. And if leaders no longer listen to the people, that's the end of our democracy. And the republic has fallen. And I'm not ready for that. My boys are very young, and I want them to experience the American dream, not the American nightmare. So thank you all so much. And I am proud to stand with you and to fight with you.
Thank you so much for that just inspirational overview and charge to action. I love that. We want our kids to experience the American dream, not the American nightmare that the Republicans are trying to mandate on Americans across this great country of ours. And Representative, I want to tell you why it's so personal. I know a lot of folks would have wanted to join this call. They're probably going to watch it a little later. It's still 4:00, 4:30 in Hawaii. So there's a lot of folks that are working and having meetings. But Texas is personal to us too. When we think of our A and HBI brothers and sisters, you know it best. You've got almost 2 million of us sitting right there in Texas. You are our face. You represent us. You uplift us. You make sure that we are included in every appropriation, in every policy. But when we talk about Native Hawaiians specifically, and sadly, if you're familiar, we've got more Native Hawaiians living on the continent than right here at home where they should be. And one of the top 5 states that they migrate to and they've relocated to are expats, I call them, our kama'aina, we want to come home. One of the top 5 places is Texas. And so you have our keiki, you have our people. And so this really came about because I had so many constituents. Senator Hirono had so many people coming up to her, literally when we're sitting in Zippies, talking story, person after person coming up, telling us, do something. We've got to do something. What can we do? I know Derek as well, party members, lots of folks in Hawaii saying, what can we do here in Hawaii to really be able to help our brothers and sisters across the country, specifically right now in Texas. So, we've got some great grassroots organizers on this call. We have people who are ready to help out. What can we do to help raise awareness and mobilize voters in states outside of our own? And that's a question that came directly from one of our participants on this call. Suggestions you can make. Folks, if you've got a question, please put it in the chat and we will ask it and get it addressed. But Representative Wu, any thoughts on what our people can do to help you right now? Because we can feel very isolated out here in the middle of the Pacific, but we want to reach out and help states like Texas.
No, absolutely. And look, I don't want to be, I know money is always a crass kind of thing, but unfortunately, this is a fundraising fundraising ask. because look, we have taken this on. It is immensely expensive, and that's the number one thing. If anybody can help out, again, I don't want people to go hungry because they're donating to us, and everything else. But the other things that you can do, if you can't donate, or even if you can, there's still more that you can do. The number one thing that I always tell people is education. Okay? Because look, redistricting is complicated. Gerrymandering is hard to understand. But could you explain to your friends about cheating, about lying, about stealing? Could they understand that? Talk to them. Talk to your friends, talk to your neighbors. Like, how do you feel about politicians who are lying, cheating, and stealing? Do you think that's fair? Do you think that they should be allowed to get away with it? Well, if not, let's start paying attention, right? I think one of the biggest things is simply that the power people have been in power, that the Republicans have spent the past 50 years telling the American public that politics is too complicated, it's too dirty, you don't want to touch it. It doesn't matter who you vote for, nothing ever changes, it's all the same. So why bother? The people who are saying that have an agenda, and they've made it so that we don't want to pay attention to the thing that affects our lives the most. And so the very first thing that we need to do if we want to turn this country around is go to our people and say, the hell, it does not matter if we don't pay attention. It absolutely freaking matters, that you understand what's going on in the world. So you can decide what to do, so you can vote, so you can realize how important it is to vote. And not just vote, but to get involved in your community. And this is, I mean, look, the Asian community, I'm telling them time and time again, you may not want anything to do with politics, but politics wants everything to do with you. And so either you are willing to participate or you're going to be a victim. And I'm tired of our community being victims. Next thing you can do, organize. Whether that organization is the people in your text group or your chat group on your Discord or whatever it is, put it together. Find people who care about this. Find people to take care of it. Find people to, and if you can make that bigger, make it bigger. If you can organize a protest, organize a protest. If you can organize a rally, organize a rally. If you can organize a political campaign, organize a political campaign and help people run. If you want to run and you have the feel you want to run, run. Right? Get out there and do stuff. Sort of the last thing that I think we have is take action of any kind. And I can't tell you what the right action is, but I think if I had to have an example, I would say let's look at the civil rights era. Look at everything that was done, whether it was a sit-in, whether it was a boycott, whether it was a protest, whether it was simply doing the thing that the powers that be tell you not to do, and just do it anyways, right? Whatever it is, we must all find ways to resist. Even if we don't win in the short term, we have to resist as much as possible. Do not let them do anything easily. Right? Okay.
Thank you, Representative Wu. And we got another question. Senator Hirono, I might want your thoughts and Manao on this too. You know, one of the questions that was asked was, how does this Texas case fit into the broader national strategy by Republicans to restrict voting rights and representation? Now, I can definitely tell you that they're running scared when it comes to the House, because they probably all went home and figured out that that big bill of theirs is not beautiful. It's the big ugly bill. That's all I call it. There's nothing beautiful about it when you take away $1 trillion in Medicaid from people who absolutely need their health care, hundreds of billions of dollars in SNAP food money stolen from the mouths of Keiki Tukapuna across this country in many red states. And so they're running scared right now in the House. We just need to net 3 seats. By the way, everyone on this call, we have got to flip the House. We have to keep our Democrats in office, and we have got to win at least 3 more so we can have a solid majority, get gavels back in hand, and be the wall against this Trump administration. But, you know, I know Senator Hirono, you've been a champion, quite frankly, and on the front lines when it comes to voting rights and that kind of representation. You've literally marched, taken to the streets to make sure that people like us, you know, can be seen and heard and represented. And so any thoughts that you might want to share of how Texas really kind of is that linchpin point for the broader national strategy the Republicans have right now to try to restrict voting rights and representation, all as they just seek more power, control?
Yeah, so no, I mean, they're not really shy about it. Texas is the test case. Texas is the laboratory for terrible Republican ideas. Like literally all the terrible crap they can think of always starts in Texas. Whether it's going after trans kids, whether it's like banning abortion, whether it's open carry, whatever it is, it starts in Texas always. And this is no different. Their thinking is if Texas can do it and get away with it, everybody can do it and get away with it, right? Because if Democrats don't react to Texas, why would they react to Ohio? Why would they react to Missouri, right? So, and look, it's not just that. If you believe in good American democracy, if you believe that the politicians should win based on their performance, based on whether they carry out what their people want and the people are happy with them, then you should make it so that the people can get rid of elected officials if they don't like them. You know, that shouldn't be just a D versus R issue. That should be for everybody. If there's a bad Democrat, I hope the voters get rid of them, right? It's no different. And I know elected officials all want to protect each other, but us protecting ourselves is not good for you. It's not good for the public. It's not good for America. So if this happens in Texas, you will have the opposite happen in blue states. Every red state will go this way. Every blue state will go that way. And whether you're a liberal in a red state or conservative in a blue state, you don't want your voice shut out. And that's something I don't think the Republicans have thought about. I don't think the Republicans have talked about and considered that that's not good. That's not good for people, right? It's not good for their people. Oh, Senator Hirono, you're muted.
Mazie? Oh, you're muted. You gotta unmute. Can someone unmute her? Hold on. You just gotta. Oh, you're still muted, Mazie. There you go.
I want to know, Jean, thank you so much for your passionate explanation and defense of what you're doing. We all are just totally on your page. The thing is that the Republicans have been spending, and the right wing have spent decades, literally decades, stacking the federal courts up to the U.S. Supreme Court. And as I mentioned, the minute the Shelby County decision came down from the U.S. Supreme Court, which, by the way, is an out-of-control majority, the 13 states started to pass laws that would make it very difficult to vote. Texas among them, Georgia, of course, a whole bunch of states, 13 states immediately began to pass legislation that would make it much, much harder to vote. So this is yet another example. And as you say, Texas is usually at the forefront, along with Florida, Georgia, states like that. And when we weren't paying attention, they took over the state legislative seats. They took over governorships. We lost thousands of state legislative, well, over 1,400 state legislative seats during the President Obama's time, and we lost some 14 governorships. So, you know, we need to pay attention, as you say, Jean, to organizing, because every single local seat, every single legislative seat, every single governor seat is important, because since the Republicans control the House, Senate, the presidency, and the basically out of control Supreme Court, we are looking to the state legislatures to win back and protect voting rights and a woman's right to choose, LGBTQ rights, all those things are really devolving on states to do. So the local races are very, very important. At the same time, if we don't take back at least the House, I think there is a more, frankly, a possibility of taking back the House. And you're right, Gene. The Republicans and the MAGA and the right wing are deathly afraid that we're going to take back the House and to start talking about impeaching a lawless president. So everything we do to organize and win back the legislative seats of the House is critical. But the Republicans and the far right have been planning all this for decades. They're very good at it. And I call the big ugly bill, it's 1,000 pages of pain. And the only people who make out are the billionaires who are going to get their tax write-off. So the rest of us suffer in this bill. But if we don't fight back, this is what happens. And when people say things like politics don't matter, you get Trump. That's it. So everybody fight back. And today Jill and I were at Zippy's just a little while ago, and so many people are coming up to us saying, we need to fight back. We're going to fight back. We want to do something. So, I hope that your message, Jean, goes nationwide, and we all come together to fight back, because the last thing that Trump wants us is for us to be organized. He wants us to be divided. He wants us to be afraid. He wants us to be distracted. And the last thing he wants is for all of us to come together. And so I say to everybody, all the groups that come to see me in my office, I say, we have to get out of our silos, of our advocacy silos. And the Black community, the Latin American community, the AA and HPI community. This is a time for all of us to fight back against all this anti-DEI stuff, by the way, Jean. You and I know a lot of what that means, the anti-DEI things that this president, this administration is trying to undo history. So thank you very much, everybody. I think you need to give us some links as to how we can be
Yes.
helpful.
So go ahead.
Oh, go ahead, Representative.
If you can donate, and I'm asking just for me, I'm asking on behalf of the House Democratic Caucus. If you go to riggedredistricting.com, RIGGED, riggedredistricting.com, that is our House Democratic Caucus donation link and page. That goes directly to help us defray the cost of having to hire security, because people keep calling in bomb threats and threatening to kill us. And it helps us to pay for the flight, pay for the hotel rooms that we have to stay in, that we have to move 3 different times because of the bomb threats. We lost a lot of money every single time that we had to move, but we didn't have a lot of choice. One hotel actually very nicely asked us to leave because they kept getting bomb threats. So it will help us defray all of those costs. And I know Democrats are not Republicans. I know people don't have that kind of money. If you can, please donate. But again, I feel guilty enough about many things. Please don't tell. I want to find out that you didn't eat because you donated money to us. Please don't do that. There's many other things we can do, but if you can donate, please help us out as much as you can, because we really need it.
Representative Wu, one of the questions we did get in the chat was just asking if you are still under threat of arrest, whether it is when you return or at any point. Again, everyone is really concerned about your well-being, your safety. Maybe you can just quickly address that.
Sure.
And
yes, the threat is there. We have talked about it. Like, we have to go back at some point. And because we actually need to go back probably sooner rather than later, because our attorneys all agree that if they are to pass a map, we need it passed within a certain window of time in order for the courts to enjoin it, right? In order for the courts to be able to have the time to smack it down. Um, uh, so remember, because the existing maps that it's based on are already racially discriminatory, and to get 5 more seats, you have to like super turbocharge that racial discrimination. We feel pretty good about our court case. It's a matter of the timing. And so I know there's people who are calling for us to be out forever, but that's not a realistic and sensible option. Letting the courts have this, allowing them to pass it, putting it immediately to the courts, and then having California nullify it, even if it goes through, is the most sensible, safest option. Right.
Yeah, well, I think you said in the beginning, right, Representative Wu, the fight for democracy has only just begun. So there's a lot of work ahead of us, a lot of support and aloha you're going to need to see from Hawaii and across this country. Hopefully you've seen from the chat and the comments here, you've got a lot of aloha coming your way. I've just seen a lot of hearts bubbling up and hands clapping whenever you talk. So there's a lot of excitement definitely coming here. We have 446 days before the midterms, people. Just reminding you, days, 446 days, and it's going to go quickly. And there's so much at stake with this. And with that, I know Derek Turbin, our Hawaii chair, may have a bit of a challenge for some. So Derek, I want to turn it over to you right now.
Yeah, I'm going to put this out there. We're so grateful for the work you're doing, Representative Wu, and then we're so grateful for all of you joining this call. So just going to throw out a challenge. I went to the link. I donated $250 for that fight. So I'm just going to throw this out to everyone on the chat. Raise your hand if you can donate $252. We as Democrats would be so grateful. Our democracy would be so grateful. And if your hand's raised,
Sure.
just click on that link, donate that $250, and let's fight for democracy, and let's stand in Representative Wu's corner.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Derek. And, I know everyone's time is precious, and Representative Wu, you've got so much going on. But real quickly here, there's a lot of folks, we can't fly to Texas for the most part right now to help you out. But are there going to be phone banking or text banking opportunities? I know a lot of our folks even are willing to write postcards. I mean, so many different things. Do you know if there's things going on, or can you let us know when there are so we can help spread the word to folks?
Yeah, no, and this is, again, let me tell you why this is so important. It's not just this fight right now, but we need to try to take back the Texas House, because people who are in this business know that after the 2030 census, California is going to lose seats, right? New York is going to lose seats. Those are Democratic seats. And Texas is going to gain seats. And if Texas gains seats, that means that there is no pathway to control the U.S. House unless it runs through Texas. And so Texas isn't just the battleground right now. It's going to be the battleground next year, because this is truly the place where everything's going to happen, and we're here for it. And we'll definitely be reaching back out and having talking to everybody. And again, the biggest thing you can help with, if everybody, is wake everybody up. Wake everybody up. Tell them that stuff like America's not working for us anymore. And if you are tired of it, you have to do something. You have to get off your butt. You have to do something. You have to figure out you have to learn what's going on, and you have to take action.
Absolutely, 100%. And I know we've seen a lot of hands raising up physically and up there. But before we wrap up, Senator Hirono, would you like to say any parting words or big mahalos and aloha to Jean over there? Oh, you're on mute again. You were unmuted. Oh, wait, can someone help her unmute?
Once again, thank you, Joe, Jean, and Derek, and everybody who's on this. I can't see you all, but we're in this together, and so I need to get the link from you again, Jill, later, and I'll send in my donation. But everybody should make a commitment. Please contribute what you can. Well, I wasn't supposed to do that, I think. Sorry.
No.
Okay. Forget that part.
Thank you, Senator Hirono, for your contribution.
Dean, you're supposed to do that part. Okay. Anyway, we all know what we have to do. Everybody stay safe, organize, you know, as the labor unions say, early to bed, early to rise, work like hell and organize. That's how we're going to get this done.
There we go. And with that, folks, send me up some emojis. We have a busy weeks, months, years, quite frankly, ahead. If you want to see more of these kinds of Zooms with folks on the front lines of democracy, like Rep. Wu, we know California is going to be in the thick of it very soon. And I know Senator Hirono and I are always looking at ways to connect Hawaii to the country so we can also join them on the front lines. Send up any bubbles if you think we need to keep doing things like this to make sure that we can do our part to show aloha wherever it's needed in this country. And I'm seeing quite a few here. So stay tuned. We're going to want to make sure that wherever the challenge to democracy is, that Hawaii people are right there fighting alongside warriors like Representative Jean Wu. So Jean, please be safe. Take care out there. Please give our aloha to all of your colleagues. I know this has been really, really difficult for them. They're away from their families, their loved ones, their income sources. This has not been an easy time, but please give them our mahalo for everything they are doing and let them know they are not alone. They have got a lot of ohana here in Hawaii. And so to all of our friends online, thank you for joining on. Yes, kind of towards the middle of our day, but let's spread the word on how we can best help Texas, and anywhere across the country that needs our help fighting for democracy. With that, we are going to end this. And big mahalos to you, Jean.
Mahalo. Bye.
Thank you, Jean.
Aloha.